Welcome to the Wisconsin Music Podcast.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Music Podcast, where we amplify the vibrant music scene of Wisconsin. I'm your host, Zach Fell, and today we have a special guest who is an integral part of the music community in Milwaukee, Jake Williams. Jake is a self-taught full-time musician who is refining what it means to be a cover musician with his off-the-wall interpretations of a diverse catalog of covers centered around a genuine piano and vocals performance. With over 200 shows a year and 11 local award nominations, Jake is a true force in the Wisconsin music industry. In addition to his solo work, Jake is involved in two other exciting projects. Sons of Scotty, previously known as The Toys, brings a high-energy, crowd-pleasing performance all around Wisconsin, while The Midnight Purchase is an alternative folk rock band that delves powerful lyricism and intimate performances. Join us as we dive into the world of Jake Williams and explore the rich musical landscape of Wisconsin. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by the sounds of our state. Welcome to the Wisconsin Music Podcast, where we amplify Wisconsin music. Jake, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's let the listeners kind of get a little bit more about you. How did you get started into music? What's your music origin story?
Ooh, yeah, good. I from a very young age, I grew up in two households, and I was an only child. So I was pretty much I was put to entertain myself, quite often. It seemed like I had no problem with that whatsoever. Kind of an introvert myself, but music is just something I happened to pick up as a kid. Realized that I had some type of ear training built in from birth, and so kind of just ran with that. Piano was just something that I always just was fascinated by. My grandma had one when I was growing up, and I loved to just dick around on it, and it was a lot of fun. But got into high school and realized I started playing trumpet. I played trumpet all through middle school and high school band. Got my first job playing piano when I was 16 at Menards, of all places. Okay. It was very fancy. The Waukesha Menards. It was a very big deal when it opened. It was like a new state-of-the-art kind of building. Had big escalators, the big grand piano, always right in the middle. And I was working in 3-hour shifts to make like $25 an hour as a high school kid. I was happy to do it. Teaching myself along the way, playing whatever I wanted to play. It was just a lot of cool freedom to have as a kid, and just kind of signing up for my own dates and getting some good practice for the world that was to come. So went to college in Green Bay, UW Green Bay for 2 years. Did plenty of open mics. Realized that I was really not into school anymore. Realized that I was just really into music now. So I left school, came back, moved back to Milwaukee, and I've been here ever since. I've been with a few different projects over the years. Let me think. I think I had a duo called August Royal. It was just me and a guitarist, just a kind of a duo thing. That fell by the wayside, and I got picked up into my first booking agency band called Party Anthem.
Okay.
And that was with I was just I went to a random audition that TEC, the entertainment company, paired me up with. Went in, auditioned with some cool dudes, and joined up, like kind of almost teeny bopper kind of like pop band, which was really not my thing at the time, but it was a cool experience, and played some awesome shows and met some great people. Actually, two of those guys I still play with in my current bands that I'm in now. And that was maybe 2013, 14-ish.
Okay.
That happened. So yeah.
So you've been around for a little bit.
Yeah, I've been a full-timer for 6 years now.
Okay.
And I've been playing professionally since I was 18 or 16, I should say.
Yeah.
I should say in bars since I was 18, like playing actual shows, not just a piano player. But yeah, I'm 30 now, so it's been about 12 years in the industry, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. So over the last decade or so, what's probably like the top 3 things that you have learned about the music industry here in Wisconsin?
I'd still say, and I tell this to a lot of musicians even still, Uh, I still think that the most valuable piece of knowledge that I've gained in this music industry locally is that you really have to know your place and know where you belong. There are so many musicians, there are so many venues, and there's so many different vibes in this southeastern Wisconsin area alone too. Between city life and country life and everywhere in between. Um, I've learned that you really shouldn't force yourself into any venue that's not working. And I see a lot of people, do it and, kind of have in success with shows and kind of like wonder why it's not working out. It's like, well, either, I find maybe they're not quite ready, skill wise to play a venue like that yet. Maybe they're actually better than that place. Maybe they're, playing a $20 coffee house show and it's like, well, you should really know that you're better than this. So I think it's
Yeah.
just kind of self-realization. I should maybe generalize and say that has been very valuable. I think most young, people going into it maybe have a little bit of an inflated ego right off the bat, but like you hit a certain point where you're like, okay, I've seen some good musicians, I've seen some bad musicians. I should be able to place myself on that chart and apply myself accordingly in this industry here.
Gotcha.
Uh,
So basically, be able to step back and evaluate yourself and say, is this where I should be? And if not, how do I change it so that I am playing at places where I think I would be a better fit, basically?
yeah, just being honest with yourself.
Right.
It's sometimes that's a hard thing to do for people that really desperately want to be great at music or want to be something that they're not. And that's hard for some people to kind of like accept and grasp. But I think the sooner you do that, the more success you're going to have because if you're applying yourself where you should, you're going to have way more success than trying to force yourself somewhere where you do not.
Right. And basically, is the majority of the music that you do now, is that mostly covering, or are you starting to go into more like or original stuff as well?
I'm actually so content with where I'm at right now with I have three projects that run in unison pretty much all the time.
Okay.
My solo show, which is just covers, but I'm an imaginative cover guy.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and play your Brown Eyed Girls or your Sweet Carolines. I'm just really not that kind of guy, and I never have been. Uh, I like to get a little bit more uh, resourceful with how I play the piano in those songs. I get a little bit more interesting, a little more avant-garde. I wouldn't say avant-garde, maybe just by playing a song in a way that you haven't heard it before. And
Okay.
that's kind of what has set me aside, I feel like, from others. I've also honestly just gotten a good amount of business because I'm a piano player in a
Right.
sea of acoustic guitarists. People throw together a lineup of 16 musicians and they're like, we should probably throw some instruments that aren't, acoustic guitars on there. And, there aren't that many piano players around here gigging like I do. So I think I just kind of by default get a good amount of business in that way.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, like I said, that is all covers though. I have I'm in an original band called The Midnight Purchase with four other fellas. Which that's all originals for the we're actually like recording, at shows. Maybe we'll throw in one or two covers, but it's pretty rare.
Okay.
And then Sons of Scotty, previously the guys from the Toys, and we're like top 40, party it up, late kind of show,
Gotcha.
kind of cover band.
Okay.
Variety.
So, why did the Toys change their name?
Yeah, that's this was one thing I was looking forward to coming here and doing and just clarifying because I can't explain to you how many times I've been asked that over the last like 6 months. It's getting a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. Thank you for asking that though. I'd love to clarify. Myself, first of all, I'll tell you all the guys in the Toys. Myself, Matthew Schwanke, Kevin Ponick, Tim Wolf, and Alex Bennett. We were all the most recent 5 members of the Toys. The Toys have, over the years, spanned 35 members at this point. It's
wow.
gotten a little bit crazy. I don't think you'll see another band in this area with that kind of turnover rate when it comes to musicians. But at a certain point, we just weren't really clicking with management in the band anymore. We got, a little bit off kilter with them. There was another band running alongside us called the Toys Revisited
Okay.
at the same time as us. And, according to the owner, it really wasn't an issue. I think maybe some people in the band thought it was an issue. All that aside, we were faced with a choice. We were either to change our name, and we would be funded essentially and overseen by the current owner still, and he would help us with the transition and the name change, or we can go off and be on our own, but we still have to change our name.
Okay.
So it was pretty much a this or that. It was we were literally told, there are two options on the table. So I think, we're happy with our decision. We wish them, the best. Those guys are going to come back and just be the Toys again.
Okay.
So the original guys, I think most all originals except for Gino, I want to say, are coming. It's like Keenan and Jimmy and Tommy, and I think Russ is there. Jeff Morkey on keyboards is there. So pretty much all the dudes from the Toys that people know from way back when in the heyday of the Toys, they're going to continue on as just the Toys now and not revisited anymore.
Okay.
And so we kind of didn't really get as much of an opportunity as we wanted to kind of voice to our fans where we would be going. This was a decision made unanimously by all five of us. We all agreed we have something going here. We have a good chemistry. We really like the product we're putting out. We're getting great reviews into the booking agency after our shows. We're getting rebooks like right away.
Nice.
Booking weddings, years down the road for us five. We just decided, we should stick together. We should take advantage of that. So we sat down and just workshopped a name, Sons of Scani. Sorry, I know. Now I'm thinking about it. You even didn't know. You ever run the Wisconsin Music Podcast, but you didn't know that Scani was a nickname for Wisconsin, and now I'm questioning myself.
No, I did not know that. But I live so close to Illinois that sometimes things like that kind of pass us by down here.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So with Sons, does if nobody's really heard of you guys before, which seems like probably not that many because you're a very popular band, but if someone just is listening and it's like, oh, what kind of music are you guys playing? Like, what would be like some artists that you guys would cover?
I think it's a pretty huge spectrum that we play. We really try and keep like the trifecta of like country in one category, pop and 90s in another category,
okay,
and classic rock and 80s
gotcha,
in another category. And we tend to just kind of bounce between those three. I would say primarily pop and 90s is kind of our thing. We've been getting into a little bit more like all American Rejects kind of stuff.
So let me re-ask that question differently then. How many artists do you cover about?
45.
Okay.
Maybe 50 at any given
gotcha.
Time. I would say like in total what
yeah.
we have is like maybe 75 to 100, but in like the set on any given night you will probably hear 45 artists.
Okay. So that gives, I think, people a good idea between the three main genres you're talking about and how many artists you cover. You're basically a radio station.
Yeah, it's all very high energy all the time.
Yeah.
That's kind of our purpose. There's no convolution about that. We were brought out to a festival to, we're there to sell beer and get people dancing and moving, and that's what we're there for. So that set really is exemplary of that. That's what we do.
Okay. And if someone wanted to come and, book you, or how do they get in contact with you? I mean, we'll talk about your other bands as well, but since we're talking about this one, where can people reach out for you for this group?
So we do book primarily through TEC, the entertainment company.
Okay.
They're just our dudes. They've helped us with this transition from the Toys, and helped us maintain a lot of our contracts and help us smooth things over with buyers through the name change, and they've done a great job for us. So we're going to stick with them, and so contact Elliot through TEC to hook up Sons of Scani show.
Perfect. Now, the original band, the Midnight Purchase, I think you alluded to this a little bit. I think you said you're recording. So kind of tell us about what's going on with this project.
Yeah, we recorded last year at River West Records, and I think we had maybe some mixed opinions about maybe like how we thought things came out in the end. Not anyone's fault. I'm not trying to say we just maybe had some disagreements on how it sounded, but this time around we went and really feel like we did it right. We took our time. We went in with that learning experience and really put something cool together. We just did 4 songs. It's going to be really cool. We're probably planning to release those 4, but I could say that there is a possibility we may go back into studio with plans to release full length. I think printing vinyl is something we want to get into, and if we print vinyl, I think we want to have a full length record under our belts for that.
So what did you learn during it this time compared to previous times?
Organization, preparedness, over planning, just running through the things that you may overlook and think that are going to be easy. But in the moment, oh man, we really should have had, the order of these events, figured out exactly how we were going to do this before we got here. Stuff like that. Gotcha. Not wasting time, not dallying around, really getting in there, getting to work, and putting our best work in, and then getting out. Okay.
And then where can people go and see the Midnight Purchase? I mean, I think you probably have some dates coming up. People will start seeing you guys perform.
I do think we have some stuff planned for summer. We are very much in the process of putting that together. Right now, we have been all studio mode, and now we're finishing that up, wrapping that up. We're going into book mode. So this summer, expect an album release. I would say that. I'm not quite sure where we're going to have it hosted yet, but we have a few options, and yeah.
Okay. Obviously, you guys have social media out there. So where can they find the Midnight Purchase? Do you have like your own website? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, things of that nature?
Yes, definitely all over Facebook and Instagram. Website-wise, we're still running through OrlandoPena.com. OrlandoPenamusic.com, I want to say, actually.
Okay.
That's our lead singer, Orlando Pena. This was Orlando Pena in the Midnight Purchase. So we were initially using his website, although now that we are branching off as a band in its own entity quite a bit, we are probably going to be launching a website in the next year. It's kind of been a topic of discussion of probably separating the entities now officially.
Nothing to show for it, but I'm still chasing my dreams. Got gray in my beard and cramps in my hands, and I'll be damned if I walk away. No hiding it in me, and I'm always chasing strings. Gonna get it all back someday. Play my luck. See, I've got this plan, and I'll be damned if I walk away. No hiding it in me, and I'm always chasing strings. Gonna get it all back someday. My hand in space, and you could try to take my cards away. And you could try, well, as you might, but I won't budge. And you could try and try, but I'll be down if I walk away.
Now, we kind of touched a little bit on your piano in the beginning of this. So kind of take the listeners a little bit on a journey of where, if they would come and see you perform just on piano, what kind of show would they expect from you for that?
Yeah, I really am blessed to say that I get to play like my favorite songs pretty much every show. I do. There's very few songs that I perform solo now that I don't like, and I think it's kind of I kind of have to do it that way because I'm doing a lot of shows, man.
Yeah.
If I was playing stuff that I was dreading, I don't know if I could carry on. So a lot of it's my favorite stuff. It's a lot of 90s rock. It's a lot of just great oldies that haven't aged a day. Some James Taylor kind of stuff. Like I said, I really love to change things. I like to take a song that maybe wasn't so great and make it something else.
Right.
Maybe one of those annoying poppy songs that you hear, and to give you a different perspective on it. That's kind of my goal.
Okay. And where do you usually perform your solo piano stuff?
That again it's a very sporadic, I would say, southeastern Wisconsin. I can't really narrow it down too much further than that. If you're in Waukesha, watching in the Waukesha area, I Raised Grain is one of my favorite places that I play. I've got a lot of shows upcoming in the next 12 months coming up at Raised Grain.
Okay.
So that's a great place to catch me. It's also an awesome tap room, great beer, great food. As for Milwaukee, I do have a few shows coming up at the Brick Pub and Grill. That's up in Glendale. That's very close to me, actually. Those are usually Wednesday nights and Saturday nights.
Nice.
So that's probably my most regular, consistent spot that I play in Milwaukee currently. Although, like I said, I'm kind of all over the place. My monthly calendar is always my cover photo on both my Facebook page and my Facebook profile. So if anyone ever wants a quick glance, you're going out, want to see if there's any music around, quick glance, check for the date, see if I'm playing. It's easy.
Check that out.
The circus is falling down on its knees. Big time is crumbling down. And it's raining in Baltimore, 50 miles east. Where you should be, no one's around. I need a phone call. I need a raincoat. I need a big love. I need a phone call. These train conversations are passing me by, and I don't have nothing to say. But you get what you pay for, and I just had no intention of living this way. I need a phone call. Oh, I need a plane ride. I need a sunlight. I need a raincoat. I get no miss you, and I guess that I should. 3,500 miles away. What would you change if you could? I need a phone call. Maybe I should buy a new car. I can always hear a freight train. Oh, baby, if I listen real hard. And I wish it was a small world. 'Cause I'm longing for big time. I'd like to hear a little guitar. Yeah, I guess it's time to put the top down. I need a phone call. I need a raincoat. I really need a raincoat. Really, really, really need a raincoat. I need a raincoat.
With all this gigging out, 200 gigs plus, and 11 awards, I mean, obviously you're doing something really great for the Wisconsin music scene. What is your perspective of the local scene attitude?
Well, I gotta say, first of all, nominations. I don't.
Nominations.
I don't want to
Sorry.
give myself too much credit. I've only won one of those bad boys, but actually two. But I think the scene is a little stagnant right now. I think it's got some major issues. Just I've now been around kind of long enough where I have now kind of a span of time reference about how things were and how things are now. I have a little perspective on that now. I couldn't have said that in the past and been accurate, but I think it's just a lot of people overplaying, I would say, is a big issue. I don't know, especially when there's not big polls for crowds. I think is maybe a little oversaturation is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think that becomes kind of an issue. I know a lot of people have kind of been chit-chatting about that. I think people just need to be smart about how they're booking, and putting all your eggs in one basket is not necessarily the worst thing when you're a gigging band over the winter. Put your efforts into a few shows. If you're a really popular band, play more. If you're getting great crowds, play as much as you want. That's wonderful. But realistically, most bands are not pulling huge crowds. They're not those giant Bella Kane kind of bands that can just pull in and pull 500 people out of nowhere. These bands are having to work for their numbers, and when you get these bands that have to work for their numbers, playing every single week, playing every Friday and Saturday, both of them, it's like you pull in a crowd of 20 to 50 people. It's not really doing it, and it's not really helping the music scene in general too, because locals are just learning that the more they go out, the more they're going to see the same thing. So I think that people need to be smart, and like I said, eggs in one basket, meaning if you're one of those bands that has to work for your numbers, focus on a couple shows. Focus on a show a month, a show every 2 months even. Sons of Scani, we were very capable of going out and playing nine club shows this season, but we really didn't want to do that because we know practically the club is not going to benefit from that. We're not really going to benefit from that because we're just going to be taking their money. There might be animosity built if we can't make those numbers. And I think that it was smart for us to kind of go in on one date and really focus on that. And I think if more people, I'm not trying to say that we're like the ones to follow by any means, but I think if people were more mindful with saturation, I think the scene would be a little bit better.
Gotcha.
You see a lot of the same faces out for a very long time. the people need something new, and that doesn't mean just go make a new cover band with the same 6 people. It means like, focus on your craft and make it better. Don't pick up another thing.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
That's very. I hope I don't catch shit for that or catch crap for that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's okay. No, I mean, it's good to hear different perspectives from different people because not everybody sees the same situation the same way. And I think the better different perspectives we have, I think that just makes everything, at least gets people talking and figuring things out. And even though they maybe not completely agree with you, at least they maybe pull a couple things off of what, your perspective and go, okay, well, I can kind of see that point of it. And then they branch off from that and try to make the scene better.
Yeah. Quality over quantity, man. I would just say that to generalize what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Focus on making your show great rather than being able to say, I played 12 shows this wow, that's great. But how many people were there? Does it really matter? Like, Yeah.
Exactly. Did anything change for you when COVID hit?
Oh, yeah. My entire calendar was wiped out. I think it happened right around St. Patrick's Day. So I was actually prepping for a big St. Patty's Day and had, at that point in March, my whole summer is typically pretty much done.
Right.
Even right now, my summer is pretty much tied up. I only have, some weekdays left. But yeah, that quite easily wiped off every single show that I had. I would say I lost 75 shows when COVID hit, when everything, shut down for the whole summer almost.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Did you do something to pass the time to musically to, like pivot something or change things or do something different?
I didn't, I didn't jump on that, what do you call it? The casting camera. I didn't jump onto that bandwagon. I think a lot of people, went online, and I don't want to say it was like, I think it's just not what I do.
Right.
I didn't feel like it's quite worth it at that point for me to totally pivot and become like a guy who now plays in his living room. I'm not going to I didn't really have the money to spend on that kind of gear either. Things were really tight then, and truly podcasting equipment and studio microphones and camera and stuff, it just wasn't realistic for me.
Okay.
I landscaped. I got through it landscaping.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, everybody has their own different way of dealing with when that happened, and it's not everybody has to go and become a online star or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, props to those guys that did that and went out and tried to pivot their business. I hope it worked out for them. I know probably en masse it didn't work out quite as much as everyone wanted it to.
Right.
I don't think anybody really made that much money off of those things. I hope they made enough, but
Yeah, exactly.
just didn't seem quite worth it to me.
Yeah. So, with all this work that you are busy doing, playing music, how do you balance your work-life balance?
Yeah. I love, I've become a homebody. I really like working out of the house now, and it becomes a lot easier when my whole day job kind of revolves around me, sticking around my phone, making phone calls, sending emails. I do a lot of design too for both of my groups. So that's like stuff that I can sink myself into for hours and hours. I obviously have hobbies outside of music. I definitely need an escape sometimes from music with the 3 projects running all the time. I'm a former cook and menu author, so I'm a big foodie guy. So I do some like traveling vacations. Like once a year, I'll just go to a city and eat everything that I can, and then come back refreshed. And I don't listen to a single song the whole time I'm there. I spend my whole time in silence. Yeah.
Side question then, since you're a foodie and a cook and everything, what are your thoughts on all these cooking shows like Ramsay's shows and all these like top line chefs and stuff like that?
Guilty pleasure. Some people have like The Bachelorette. I've watched those Gordon Ramsay shows since I was like a kid.
Yeah.
I was probably 10 years old.
Right.
So I'm still drawn to them. I gotta watch it.
Very cool. Very
That's what it
cool.
is.
As we get to the end of the questions here, is there any gigs that were like a massive impression on you, either as a performer or an audience member?
Great question. I think as a performer, the one that I can think of offhand that really was my first like serious like kind of bigger show, or at least in the time at that time it was for me, was I booked MAM After Dark, the Milwaukee Art Museum After Dark, and it was just only me, on that bill. It was just like it was a pretty, for me, as someone that had never really played outside a dive bar at that time in my life, to get put in that kind of like beautiful atrium, and like you're bringing your own PA, and it's like I was super nervous. It was just a really fun show though, and it was kind of a pivot point for me to start taking things more seriously and being like, this is viable. Like I did enough. People liked me enough that it got me here, and
Nice.
it kind of maybe eliminated some self-doubt, you could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big
Excellent.
moment for me.
Very cool. Was there any concerts you've gone to that made a big impression on you?
I don't know about impression made, but just enjoyability factor.
Okay.
Radiohead's my favorite band, and I saw them at Lollapalooza in 2006, 17.
Okay.
I want to say whenever they were there. It was phenomenal. It was like the best show I've ever seen in my life. Don't know if it will ever be beaten in my mind.
Well, that's
It was a
good.
tough
That's
one to
good.
beat.
Nice. If you could go back in time and talk to a much younger self, is there any advice you'd give yourself?
Don't go to college. Oh Christ. Oh, tuition, man. For something that I didn't really want to do. I didn't want to do in the first place, but it was kind of like a parent telling me, this is what happens next, kind of thing. And I wish I could, go back and maybe be a little more forceful about saying that I really shouldn't. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Because in hindsight, it didn't really help me.
Right. It's not for everybody. There's other
It made
venues.
me work a lot harder. It made me stretch myself in ways that I didn't really want to be stretched.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to let the listeners know about?
Sorry, I wrote some notes too. I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers it. You asked some good question. That was pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I took some notes, but you literally asked me all the things that I had to talk about. So that was good.
Good. All right. Well, then, thank you so much, Jake, for being here on the Wisconsin Music Podcast. I've had a great time talking with you, hearing about all the wonderful, great things you're involved with. Your plate seems like it's, for me, it'd be overflowing. It'd be way too much for me, very overwhelming. But for you, it seems like you have a great grasp on making sure you have everything organized and you're ready to perform the certain groups you're with. And it just sounds like you're on a great journey here in music.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Wisconsin Music Podcast. Once again, I'm Zach Fell, your host and creator of the Wisconsin Music Podcast, where I love to amplify the great sounds coming out of the Wisconsin state. We have great talent here, great support, great listeners. Thanks to Fox Cities Indie Radio for syndicating this on Thursdays and Sundays, along with their other great programming. So make sure you check out the Fox Cities Indie Radio. Thanks to this week's guest, Jake Williams. I hope you enjoyed listening to the great stories that he has told you about all the things that he is a part of, the bands he's been a part of, the history, and the things that he is looking forward to in the near future. Would also like to make a special thank you to Andrea Hubert. She has taken over the majority of the social media on Instagram and Facebook, and also the newsletter. Hope you are enjoying the great information she has added to this publication that you receive every week in your email. If you're not on the email list, please email me at wisconsinmusicpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get you on the newsletter mailing list. Also check out Andrea's website, Hub and Company, HUBandCompany.com, and fill out the information requests on her website while it gets a glow up, as she mentions on her website, and see what she can do for your organization. For those of you who are new to our show, the Wisconsin Music Podcast is dedicated to showcasing the incredible talent of Wisconsin-based musicians and the thriving local music community. Our episodes drop every Tuesday on all streaming platforms and YouTube. Additionally, you can catch our episodes on Fox Cities Indie Radio every Thursday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. Make sure to follow Chris on Facebook, X, and Instagram to keep up with his latest musical endeavors. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week with another fantastic episode on the Wisconsin Music Podcast. If you'd like to be on the show, just go to wisconsinmusicpodcast.com, fill out the guest request form up at the top, ask for your email and your name, and then I'll send you an auto email asking you for more information. If you are enjoying these episodes, please consider donating to the Wisconsin Music Podcast. Donations help pay for the website and putting the podcast up on streaming services, and also getting our name out there to all Wisconsinites and others that are interested in our great music here in Wisconsin. Donations are secured through PayPal and Stripe. All you have to do is go to the website and click on Donate to WMP. You can also head over to our Instagram and Facebook pages and like us there. Leave some comments. Also go to the podcast review section of your podcast player and leave a 5-star review. Would be great. You can also head over to YouTube and watch the interviews and leave comments there as well. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next time.